This is BRG podcast for rewind. Try again. Podcast episode 45 for November 14th, 2016. This episode is brought to you by our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com. A special thanks and shout out to NQN Linz and NQN Dano, our esteemed colleagues and leaders in BRG, for putting up the extra bucks on Patreon. We really do appreciate that, guys. So thank you. Guys, definitely head over to Not Quite Nerds YouTube channel and check them out. Just look up Not Quite Nerds and you'll pretty much find them everywhere. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode on this wonderful podcast of ours where we tend to get off the rails before we even get onto them. It's like off-road training. That's great. As always, I have my esteemed colleague down below me, Kirok, with me.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And it's a special treat to actually have somebody new that you guys have never seen before. It's actually a real life co-worker and friend of mine, Nacho Panda. How's it going, Nacho?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Nacho. Welcome, Nacho.
I actually want to have Nacho on because he's going to give us a unique perspective. We're actually going to be revisiting our impressions of VR. Part because I want to talk about, we've had some time to play with them now and get used to them and find out their love and hates, elements about them. But also because Nacho here went out and grabbed the PSVR and has been playing the crap out of that. And more importantly, that's pretty much his primary exposure to VR. You haven't really played with the Vive or the Oculus, right?
I've actually never personally experienced either one of those. Nothing further than just seeing YouTube videos.
Okay, so it'll be great. So it'll give you a more untainted view on PSVR. View. So it'll be interesting to talk about it. So we're going to talk all about that and get into some details about it and give some impressions, thoughts, and perspectives about it. But first, the news. Okay, so to start us off this wonderful, fine evening, all you people that love Pikachu just a little bit too much can start salivating because, brace yourself, there are leaks all over the place regarding Pokemon Sun and Moon. Now, this is the rather long-awaited game that, I'll be honest with you, at least from my perspective, since I'm not a big Pokemon fan, this really kind of got overshadowed by Pokemon Go for a while. It really was all about Pokemon Go, and there was a little bit of news about Sun and Moon down the road a bit, kind of a thing. But you never really paid any attention to it. You never saw that really in the news fields for anything. But anyways, so the long story short, there's a lot of crap that's come out, a lot of details about the new game, which we're releasing here very shortly, actually.
Very soon.
But if you want to get kind of a precursor or a heads up on it, there's actually a detailed rundown I know, shocking, but on Reddit. So you get over to Reddit, you actually get a full rundown of it. I'm not going to go ahead and bother really diving into some of the details.
I don't even
down that rabbit hole.
I was going to say, you guys, of course, you guys can go over and check out the articles. Again, they'll be in the show notes if I ever get the damn show notes up. You can also just Google it. It's not that hard. You can get all the rundown and beef about it and get yourself kind of prepped and ready. It'd be great because it'd be a new game you can learn. Yay.
Pokemon.
Hey, speaking of learning, oddly enough, apparently Google's DeepMind has gotten bored of beating the pants off people like Go. That really, really complex, I'm going to call it a board game, but it's a strategy game on a board that is much more complex than chess. And we talked about it a little while ago, but basically DeepMind lambazled the best Go player out there. So now that they've bested that, they've moved on. They decided the next thing to tackle is going to be StarCraft 2.
Yep.
Yay! Which I'm already very tickled about because I love StarCraft. I love StarCraft 2. I don't play as much as I want to, but they're fun games. But this is going to be interesting because this is a completely different dynamic from games like chess or games like Go, because those are very rigid, very spelled out, games with specific rule structure and strategy structure that games like this don't have. And this is interesting because not every game is going to play the same way. Things can play different ways. So it's a whole new learning curve for this AI to go through. So
it actually learns as the game is played.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's basically what it boils down to, just like with when they teach these things how to play, if you will, they give them obviously the rule set and basic understanding, so they understand the concepts of what each element does. But from there, it's a matter of you have to get an AI to understand the goal and where they are towards that goal. So if you tell an AI you need to cross that finish line, you have to show them where it's at, and as they take steps, they need to understand, are they going towards the goal, are they going away from the goal,
right,
are they going sideways? So they have to start kind of understanding what's good, what's bad, how things work. And this is especially interesting in something like this because encountering different characters, this is a balanced real-life strategy or real-time strategy game, so that you have to understand that when you go with 20 units up against something, it's going to react differently and it's going to play out differently depending on what those other units are. They may have a weakness towards them, may have an advantage towards them, etc. So
it's pretty awesome because when you consider it has to make mistakes to learn, and then eventually it gets better.
Exactly.
Sounds just like a person.
Exactly.
Very trial by error, it seems like. Yeah. And just to kind of add on to that, the fluidity of StarCraft 2 just in the gameplay itself, it's going to be interesting to see how quickly the trial and error process is. Like if it takes on the the role that it's playing and it understands quicker, and from there it'll kind of learn quicker and quicker, and who knows what it'll end up doing. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. Maybe it'll become super violent.
Right.
It's the beginning of Skynet.
Yeah,
as long as it doesn't learn Zerg Rush in the beginning, I think it'll be okay.
Well, I mean, VR, one of the most violent games just actually got... it's a pre-order release, so the game itself doesn't come out until December 6th. It's called Arizona Sunshine. Apparently, it's one of the most violent. It is the not old school, but the usual zombie setting. But it's pretty cool. I've already pre-ordered mine
of
on
course
Steam.
You have.
I can't wait.
Sold.
Yeah, because I had it on my wish list for the longest time. But when I was going through the article, what's really awesome about it is it's okay. Most VR games aren't really highly polished. This one looks really highly polished. It's not cheap. It's about $50, but they have it on, like, if you pre-order it before the game comes out, it's like 15% off. And one of the things that they did, because the whole game is basically you standing there with guns and shooting at these zombies as they rush towards you, but you do travel through the game through different areas. So there's a mine area where you're underground, and you have to learn how to manage your bullets. You have to learn how to manage your weapons. You can holster your weapons. You even have to have a flashlight. Otherwise, underground in the mine, it's totally dark. So,
oh God!
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
There's a whole lot of nope going on right now with me.
So imagine being in that VR environment. It's gonna be a little bit freaky, but at the same time, it's gonna really.
It's gonna be jump scare palooza.
Immersive and just get you completely.
The problem
cool
with
thing
this is yeah. Sorry, I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say. The games, and as I was going through the article, the game starts you off nice and easy. First 20, 30 minutes, it shows you the basics. This is how you load the gun. This is how you cock the gun. This is how you point and shoot the gun. And you got to be accurate because you got to line up your sights. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It's not like a Call of Duty where you put the cursor on top of your target and then hit a button. Yeah. And then apparently it gets harder and harder, and then you start to manage your stuff, your weapons, your bullets, your
This is
flashlight.
VR we're talking about. I mean, first of all, there's going to be jump scares involved. Second of all, somebody's going to be spinning around too many times. They're going to end up choking themselves on the goddamn wires.
Oh, yeah, the wires. That's right. Well, actually, I just worked.
Got a little, talking about it.
I know. I actually just called you by someone else's name. Forgive me. So Warped, there is an upgrade kit that just went on sale today, as of recording today, and sold out in about 18 minutes. It is an upgrade kit for your HTC Vive. The company is basically Vive X company TP Cast. That I believe is the name of the product. So if you go to Google and type in TP Cast, you'll actually see shots of it. The only one, when I was reading through, the only one that they have available is the standard one. They plan to have available one with a bigger battery packs for extended play. Basically, you replace the wires. The kit straps onto the existing straps in the headset, and it has wires that then plug into the front of the HTC Vive, because you can pop that open and unplug all the cables, the HDMI and the USB and so on. And so it takes the place of that and sends everything wirelessly to your computer, which is freaking sick.
I wonder how the connectivity is for that, because that's some mega bandwidth to have two high def lenses in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. So, but apparently it's in demand. They sold out in like 18 minutes. That's what it says. Yeah, they sold out in 18 minutes, and they're set to ship in first quarter 2017. So, I can't wait. I mean, I didn't know, so I didn't place an order, but I would definitely
sold out. But were they actually like kits ready to go, or is this like pre-order?
No, as far as I know, these were ready to go.
So this is not some Kickstarter vaporware BS.
No. They actually, if you look it up, you'll actually see images of it. Right? There's links there in the description as well.
All right.
I'm curious.
So it's pretty awesome.
All right. Well, I'll take this. So it looks like Ubisoft has decided to treat us all a little bit with a nice game. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is available through Uplay for free. Woohoo! For all you that have played the Far Cry games, it's a first-person shooter, very open world, very kind of just awesome. I remember playing. It's it's hard to find the right word for it, but this Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, it's a it's a 80s parody FPS is what they're calling it. And just from the look of it, you can definitely see where they're going. The bright neon colors, the over-the-top guns. You're just kind of overwhelmed with just visuals and stuff like that. And then, they also have to throw in the cheesy one-liners just to add on that extra cheese for you.
Duke Nukem.
Exactly. It's not an 80s parody if it's not cheesy. So yeah, that's available right now. They're kind of doing this whole thing for Ubisoft's 30th birthday. So they have a few other games available. It looks like Rayman Origins, The Crew, Beyond Good and Evil. So a lot of other really great games, and they're doing about once per month. So get your hands on it and get playing. Let's see some awesome stuff.
For their birthday. Okay, it was either their birthday or they're celebrating not getting a hostile takeover yet from Vindy. But anyways,
any reason to celebrate is a good reason for
exactly.
free games. So. Good job, Ubisoft.
Good job. Everybody likes retro, right?
Yeah.
Well, good news for all the people in Blizzard's world, because as it turns out, if you remember a little while back, we talked about the legacy server that got shut down by Blizzard, and then they called all the people from the legacy server to talk, and there's rumors about legacy well, it hasn't. So I don't know if that's because of that or what, but long story short, the people who hosted this legacy server are now releasing the source code for it in the hopes that other groups will pick up the torch and host some legacy servers. The one perk about this is there's a potential for not only having all the code in place that people can actually pick it up and easily set up a nostalgia server or a legacy server, but potentially that people could pick up all of the data from the players that were playing. So you could actually come back into a new server and actually find your characters there.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it'd be kind of nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And I also find that these legacy servers tend to be a more friendly crowd of people.
Well, they're not so, power hungry. It's more like a nostalgic playback,
Yeah, exactly.
With the,
hey, but who gets really power hungry? People in EVE Online.
EVE Online. Yeah, you're absolutely right. About a month ago, CCP Games issued a statement that would change the end user license agreement, basically making it a bannable offense to do like gambling through EVE Online. So, for example, one alliance of players known as the Money Badger Coalition.
Money Badger Coalition don't give a fuck.
They drove another alliance of players known as the Imperium from the northern section of the map. I guess there's like a world map in the game. I don't play the game. What made this conflict unique was that the Money Badgers were a mercenary group being funded almost entirely by the proceeds of I Want ISK, ISK being the currency in the game, a player-run in-game casino. So essentially, what they're doing is they're moving to ban all this so that this cannot happen in the game, which is good, because it translates to what was it, up to $620,000 real world money, which is crazy. So sources tell Polygon that up to $620,000 worth of in-game currency was seized. So, you know, what? Like, I like what Warp said the last time we brought this up and we talked about it. If you're gonna get the game and you're gonna play the game, just play the game. And I'm going clean here. Just play the game. No, honest to God, just play the game. Like, it's so stupid. And I would because it is gambling, and gambling can be an addictive habit, I'd hate to see how many people got actually hurt by this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no kidding.
Especially, there's adults who know what they're doing, but then I'm sure there's probably a bunch of kids in there too, mixed in along with it.
That was the whole thing with CSGO, was effectively guys pitching or advertising to a population on their YouTube channel they knew was predominantly underaged, and tell them to go gamble their shit. Anyways, I digress.
All right.
Yeah. I do want to switch gears here, guys. A little bit of the gaming news aspect, but we're gonna switch gears here and kind of speed through our other topics. We always do a little bit of tech tidbits and other things. So to start us off here, Nacho.
Yeah, it looks like we got some interesting news coming out of GoPro. Their new Karma drone was finally released just recently, and they're already having a recall.
Yeah.
So they released what is it, like, very recently
on the 23rd.
23rd, thank you. Yeah.
October, yeah.
So not even 2 weeks, and they've recalled over 2,500 Karma drones. It looks like company issued only a small number because they lost power during operation for unknown reasons. You know,
it's a $800 flipping drone that you strap a freaking $400 camera into. Those things should not be falling out of the sky.
Especially for unknown reasons.
Drones themselves as a hobby is already expensive enough. To be having this kind of issue, I think it's very, I don't want to say irresponsible. It's just crazy that this is happening with GoPro. You think they have the R&D to make sure that something like this, it doesn't happen.
They got the R&D, they don't have the QA. That's the problem.
So hold on. Is the camera, the GoPro camera, does it do HDR? I don't know if it does HDR, and maybe it doesn't. But you know what does HDR? Oh, it does? Well, YouTube now supports HDR.
Oh God.
So YouTube's basically announced that they are supporting 4K video. Well, they've had 4K for a while actually, but they're now supporting HDR, so high dynamic range, which gives video with better.
For all those playing at home, Kirok, go ahead and give us a clear and in-depth definition and understanding of what HDR is.
HDR. So I'll do it as quick as I can because I know we got to move forward here. HDR essentially takes a scene and kind of takes the highlights, the midtones, and the deep darks and meshes them together to give you an image that gives you more detail, more contrast, vibrant color. So if you're taking a picture of a subject against the lake and the sky and the lake don't wash out. You actually see the clouds and you see the water. That's HDR. Video games are now implementing this. The new PS4 Pro that just came out is implementing it. The Xbox One S, if I'm not mistaken, has it. I could be mistaken on that. But essentially what this means is if you're playing those games in HDR, you can capture that video and then post it on YouTube and it presents in HDR. The catch is you need an output device that handles HDR. So if I'm on YouTube and I have a 1080p screen that doesn't do HDR, my computer screen, I don't get the benefit out of it.
Go
So
figure. Yeah,
it has
HDR
to
is
be
actually
from
a
end to
function
end.
has to be included. Yeah, you can't just
Yeah.
have a 4-screen monitor and go, I'm set. Not
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly.
You're just kind of slapping the HDR
Exactly,
tag
not exactly.
onto YouTube.
Yeah.
Well,
People
I
see
mean,
HDR.
I guess YouTube's finally getting to a point where this is valid. The people are actually watching content from because they have YouTube Red and all that. So it's there. The content's there.
Yeah.
Speaking of content, I will say that we would be a little bit remiss if we didn't mention that there was this thing called the election that just happened in America, and there were a tremendous amount of dumbfounded faces when it comes to Trump actually making president. I'm shocked at this, but okay. But people are also shocked about this were the makers of South Park, who had to hastily and frantically rewrite their script for their episode because they were pretty sure that Hillary was going to win and had everything mapped out for just that. Just for people who don't know, South Park is a very edgy animated show for adults that it's always been very on point with topics because from inception, to write up to release is only about a week. So the episodes are thought of, conceived, and done within a week's time before release. And they had everything lined up, and then Trump won, and they had to literally scrap it
everything
and frantically rewrite it.
Whoops.
So even the best of us get caught off guard. So there you go.
Another media bite. Uncharted movie director teases the casting. So director Sean Levy is looking for the right person for Nathan Drake. Fans have been putting forward suggestions. A bunch of the different suggestions that they have are people like Nathan Fillion, I believe is his name, or Fillion.
Yeah.
Thank you. He's from Firefly. Nolan North, he's a voice actor. Oscar Isaac from Star Wars The Force whatever. I'm not a Star Wars fan.
Wow.
I just made a ton of enemies there.
Whatever,
Twitter is at Kirot Craft. Send your hate tweets that direction.
They've also suggested Chris Pratt from Jurassic Park, Chris Pine from Star Trek Beyond, and Chris Evans from Captain America, Nicola Coster-Waldau from Game of Thrones.
I'm sure if I saw their faces, I'd know who you're talking about, but I know Nathan Fillion.
The links are there. If you click on them, you can see their faces. But I'm going to go on record officially saying, and I thought of this many, many times before, if they're ever going to cast anyone, they should cast Joe Flanagan from Stargate Atlantis. I think he looks to the T like Nathan Drake.
Oh, huh.
Like right there, right? That's what I think they should do. So anyways, director mentioned that it's looking to start filming in spring of 2017. So,
yay! Awesome.
I don't do the Uncharted series, so okay.
Oh, man.
So on the calendar, guys, history. This week in history, Microsoft introduces Windows, November 10, 1983. So Microsoft announces a new product, Windows, to compete with other graphical environments for computers, such as Interface from the Apple Lisa. After several delays, Windows 1.0 finally became available to the public in 1985. Its major features included pull-down menus, tiled windows, mouse support, and cooperative multitasking as well for programs.
And the world was amazed.
Yeah.
And went right back to Apple, but, details. Seriously, most of the world looked at Windows 1 and went, and went back to using the Macintoshes.
Honestly, I don't remember it, so.
You youngins. I swear. Hey, also in history, the day that music was reborn, on November 10th in 2001, Apple started shipping its first iPod. We actually talked recently about them being released or announced. Now they actually got set out to the world. And again, I fight a fight because these things were such a revolution in a lot of aspects, but there were so many glaring problems. Not to mention the fact that these things actually predated iTunes. So, hey, there you go. Anyways.
All right. Game releases. Yes. Okay.
Good
so November 15th, you can look forward to seeing Watch Dogs 2 on PS4 and Xbox One. I had Watch Dogs 1, played it very little, didn't get into it. I'm not a big fan. I really hope they do better in this one, but it was one of those games that was hyped up, very No Man's Sky-ish, and then it just kind of fell flat.
Yep.
Also on November 15, Assassin's Creed, the Ezio Collection. Comes out on PS4 and Xbox One. I believe it is remastered, if I'm not mistaken. I should have taken a look, but don't quote me on that. And finally, Road Rage for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. All of those coming out on November 15th.
All right, and just shortly after
that.
What?
Road Rage.
Oh,
when there is no law to obey, there's no law to break.
That's the tagline.
I had to. It's the tagline.
You just had to do that, didn't you? You know, the tagline of this century right there.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Anyways, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Easy segue from that. November 18th, we got a small game, you know, Pokemon Sun and Moon 3DS, you know, it's whatever, not really big. Now, the highly anticipated Pokemon Sun and Moon, all you kids with your 3DSs will now be able to fully access that game, play it, go nuts. Yeah, catch all the new weird Pokemon that they have out there. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I haven't played since Pokemon like Yellow.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I don't even know. I have played Pokemon. I just have no idea what is going on anymore. I saw a little bit of when Pokemon Sun and Moon was kind of being talked about, and I honestly was kind of scared about with the look of the Pokemon. It's just it's interesting. And then also we also have Killing Floor 2 coming out for PC and PS4. So that is a little bit more on the violent spectrum when compared to Sun and Moon.
A little more.
Just a tiny bit. So
funny how they come out on the same day, huh?
That is very interesting. Let's get the polar opposites and let's really see where people. I just want to see somebody walk up with both and just be like, yeah, that's my pull.
Yeah, it's kind of like people who went out in California and voted for Trump and then voted to legalize marijuana. Well, right, yes, yeah. I want Trump, and I want weed.
And I need help dealing with it.
That's called hedging your bets. I think you can make the changes we need, and just in case, something to get me high.
Get me through. So those two games, come out November 18th, so make sure to look for that and enjoy them.
Yeah, also on November 19th, we have Yesterday's Origins. I have not even seen this game, so I have no idea what it is, but it's coming out on the 19th, so if you know about it, kudos. It's coming out.
Yeah. PC,
good
PS4,
for you.
Xbox One.
Oh, man.
So, all right, guys, we're going to take a small ad break here. We don't actually have any particular person to promote. What we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about some events that are coming up for Bottle Rocket Gaming. Bottle Rocket Gaming community is going to have a few different events going on. They're going to be doing some game nights. Anyone in Bottle Rocket is welcome to join. One of them is on the 21st of November, Osiris New Dawn. The next one will be November 27th, and that game will be Fractured Space, which I've watched, and it's a free-to-play, and it's actually really cool.
It looks really awesome.
Yeah. And then the last one is GTA Snow Day, and that's December 25th. That's Christmas Day. Hey.
It is Christmas Day, but there are people out there that Christmas Day is just another day to them. But more importantly, this is an event that it only happens for one day. This happens the day of the 25th, from what I understand.
Oh, okay.
I haven't played it, and so you're either there or you ain't.
Wow, that's okay.
So don't miss out.
All right, guys. So let's move into our main segments now. Basically, VR two discussions, kind of like a part two.
A part two. Put a link in the show notes to remind me to put a link in the show notes so that we can link back to the original VR one.
Okay. Let me ask Panda or yeah. Sorry, Panda.
Nacho, whatever you want to call
Nacho. What's your VR exposure? What's your experience? What have you tried? What haven't you tried?
So I have purely only personally experienced the PlayStation VR. So I've kind of got into the scene a little late. I looked into the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive almost right before release, so my exposure to that was very new. But after seeing that and seeing what PlayStation was going with, for me personally, it was a lot easier for me to go ahead and purchase the PlayStation VR and just go run with it. So I ended up getting the launch edition. So it came with the wands, all the
Nice.
stuff you
Okay.
could need for the game.
So first things first, when it comes to the system do you have the original? Do you have the Pro? Do you have anything special?
I have the original PlayStation 4. I haven't I haven't really I didn't see the overall benefit for me to get the PlayStation Pro, but I do understand, I can see why they would make it. It's supposed to handle the VR a little bit better, but
Yeah.
just personal from what I've experienced so far with the VR on my original PS4, I mean, I've seen a very fluid experience. So, I mean, that's, so far what I've just kind of seen, but I don't know if you want me to talk about this first.
Well, okay. I was gonna say I've only had a chance to quickly use it. I only had they did the thing in the malls where they would have you try it on,
Right.
right? I did that. It was running off of a regular PS4. It ran fine.
Yeah.
Like I honestly didn't think that it was stuttering or suffering trying to run the games that they were showing off. So yeah.
Yeah.
What were you
They're
gonna
going
say,
to be
Warp?
selective in their games, of course. I mean,
Yes,
they're not going to demo games they know are going to be tough for the thing.
Right. I mean, especially for demo stations, you can't really. I mean, you could, but ideally, you don't want to throw them into an experience that will make them have reservations against the system. So
Yeah.
motion sickness kind of experiences may not help sell it. Obviously, you just want them to.
Well, that
I can't
worries me
imagine.
because I mean, since we're on topic of the PSVR, I do want to dive into more depth here, but there is issues definitely with. I've seen demos where like people are on the street luge and things like that. It's like I could see that really turning stomachs real goddamn quick. But before we get into that, one thing I want to just check on with real quickly is the setup process. What was it like pulling it out, getting it set up, and everything?
So, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I saw the overall hardware for it, and I was kind of surprised. Like, there were a lot of cords, a lot of, I mean, the instruction manual to set up streamlined the entire process, so that was awesome to,
good.
To not be confused by the direction for them.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, there's a lot of cords, and at first, the initial look of it is kind of intimidating. You see all these plugs, and you're just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then as you start putting it together, you really see the simplification of it. So I honestly, after setting it up, the couple times that I've set it up, moving it around in different rooms and stuff, it's all I can set up and break down in 15 minutes, which is great. So, for, parties and different things like that where you want to get people to try it out, I'm not like, okay, guys, go do something. I'll be back in a half hour. The setup isn't as daunting of a task. So I think, for the PlayStation, especially being the console is very, mobile, you can move it around and stuff. I think to have the setup be kind of simplified is super beneficial for the overall experience of it. And I think they really hit it on the nail, or they hit the nail on the head with that. So I was very impressed with how they did that.
Would you say that the same thing is with the aside from the setup? Once it's set up, would you say it's the same thing with just saying, hey, I want to play some VR and just pick up and go?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I set up, I was playing it last night. I picked up the new Until Dawn Rush of Blood. Now I was playing that. I put it down last night, went to sleep, woke up, I had everything still set up, and I was like, all right, I'm going to play. I have Batman Arkham VR. I just popped in the disc, put on the headset, and I was going. So I think for that, I mean, for the PlayStation VR, they really have to emphasize the ease of transition and from video games to virtual reality, because this is such a great concept and so new that, you really have to, I don't want to say, oversimplify. You don't have to, they need to kind of make it simple to pick up and go. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously that limits the experiences they'll have, but I mean, they're in such a, proof of concept right now that it's really just about getting the system into the hands of the people and get them experiencing it. And then the word of mouth, and then just everything kind of snowballs from there. So I think for that, they're really they're taking steps in the right direction, and they're doing it really well. So I'm impressed. Yeah, I like it.
I just worried a little bit because, like you noted, I saw some pictures of all the gear of art. It's like, it's one of those things of, forgive me, I'm not trying to insult anybody here, but for the masses of PC players, you give them a Vive and have all that gear, all the wiring, the things you have to mount for monitoring, etc. And they're not they tend to be a little more savvy and a little less daunted by that. Whereas people picking it up for a console system tend to be not, by and large, obviously not everybody, but by and large, are a little less savvy. And I was just kind of curious if that's something that the average Joe is not going to have too much problem with setting up. It sounds like they've done a really good job in making it easy to follow, easy to understand.
You're right. Sorry, excuse me. You're right, Warped. Because when I set up my Vive, it probably took me, the first time I did it, because I had to tear it down, get the unit exchanged, and then do it again. The first time I did it took me probably an hour and a half. The second time I was down to maybe 50 minutes setting it up, because I had to actually put the things on the walls, the actual lighthouses, screw them in, make sure they're tilted and angled properly, do the room setting and everything. And that was setup, and setup would be, I would say, would be considered intermediate to almost advanced, not advanced, but almost advanced. Then after that, it's all set up. I should be able to play, and to get set up again, just to play, like put the headset on, make sure it's on properly, the controllers, the headphones over top, and everything. I think it's a little bit more involved, as opposed to, and this is why I asked Nacho, how did he find it? Was it just like, boom, on you go and away you go? Because the Vive takes a little bit of setup, even just to play again after it's already been set up.
Now, we should say that you have a little bit of cross-pollination. You started with the Vive, and now you have had a chance to play with the PSVR, as well as the Oculus. We'll talk about in a minute here. Nacho, your impressions in general of the hardware itself, in terms of the comfort, the visual aspect, the controllers, how it tracks. What are your impressions?
So, to kind of go on that, I felt like the overall fit for the VR was really comfortable and kind of easy to put on. The one gripe that I would say I have about the overall system, and Karak, you may agree with me on this, but glasses. That is a major issue if you're trying to play the VR. Like I got because the way you can adjust the VR headset is it actually gives the option to move the visual piece further away and closer. So obviously, the lenses. Thank you. Yes, and so that kind of I was trying to move it as close as possible to really take away all peripheral light. So to really kind of immerse myself in the experience, and I was hitting my glasses, and it kind of got in the way, I would say, of the experience. I mean, you kind of get used to it and adjust, but I think that was kind of, if I had to really put my 2 cents on just my one issue, would be that, other than the glasses being an issue, I would say fitting it on, adjusting, and they really made it, they streamlined everything top to bottom. You plug everything in. The adjustment on the back of the strap was really easy. It has like a click wheel that kind of tightens it to your head, and then to release, it's a simple press of a button on the back, and then you can easily pull it off. And they really simplified it almost to 2 different adjustments. And I think it was a great call on their part. PlayStation really, they did a good job with that. And
also, what about the controls and the tracking? That's an important thing. Is when you point somewhere, does it follow right?
I did. I mean, that's ideally what makes this experience what we are looking for. If it doesn't have great tracking, it's going to be a wasted experience. You're going to get frustrated. You're not going to be able to, point your sights at what you're, aiming for, and that it kills the whole experience. And I did notice a little bit of I would say tracking issues, not so much with the wands, because I was playing a couple the demo games, and the wands seemed to work actually fairly well. But there was I would say one game that I did kind of have to put down because of the tracking was an issue, and I don't know, maybe I just haven't adjusted it enough, but the Until Dawn, I was having issues with my targeting system, and my orientation kept shifting. I don't know if that kind of makes sense, and it was very frustrating. And being that you're on a track and it's very linear, to have to kind of pause, go through settings and readjust, it
Gotcha.
completely kills the experience, and that was unfortunate. But I would say the majority of the demos that I played, I had a great great experience with the tracking. I know they have the the VR Worlds, where it has like the different experiences. They have this one called London Heist that I think does its justice in the tracking system. You really get a good experience from that, and so it's kind of hit and miss. Obviously, it's very new. You know, it's going to be kind of a learning grace period. So that's it's interesting to see. But there's one thing I do want to kind of pinpoint as well. It's lighting. If you don't have good lighting, it definitely affects the tracking system. I've tried it in both daytime and nighttime settings, different direction for light, and you really do kind of feel a different experience depending on where your light source is coming from. So if you're backlit, you know, it's a little bit harder for it to track because it's fighting the other light sources. Where if you're front lit,
I remember seeing an article about that.
Yeah. I've definitely experienced that myself. So it's, you know, it's going to be interesting to see where that goes and how people kind of figure out the best way to set up. And
like you said, it's going to be a learning curve. I mean, this goes
exactly
both the hardware as well as the people who use it and sometimes play it. Now, for the aspect of hardware, I want you to chime in real quick, Kirok, because like I said, you come from the background of first being experienced with the Vive, but then you go to the PlayStation, and one thing that came up that I remember talking about was the Vive is a mask that actually fits to your face rather tightly, so it blocks out all peripheral light. This one doesn't.
No, so the Vive itself has a foam outside, which actually seals right around your whole face, from the nose area all the way around up on the forehead. In fact, you end up with a VR face when you're done. It leaves like a red imprint, right? It's awesome because it does block out all the light, but what ends up happening is it gets really hot over gameplay, especially if you're doing something that's very active. And then, of course, you'll get sweat in the inside. And I agree with you 100%, Nacho. I agree with you about the glasses. I experienced the glasses problem because I use them to see, both with my HTC Vive and with the PSVR. The PSVR, because it doesn't quite, literally suck to the face. If you adjust it and get it in as close as you can, you get a better peripheral experience, and then it blocks out most of the light. But when I did that on my trial, I actually noticed that my glasses were hitting the lenses as well. Word of advice, check your lenses, make sure they're not scratched. Happened to me on my Vive. I ended up getting the Vive replaced. And so I switched to contact lenses only for VR. I hate contacts, but for VR, I'll wear them.
We sacrifice for
commitment right there.
So when you ask me about the differences, the Vive itself sucks right on and makes this little toaster oven.
It looks like a toaster ripping your face.
It does have space for the glasses, but when you want that immersive experience and you bring it right in, you could potentially damage the lenses with your glasses. I would imagine the same thing would be happening with the PSVR. And the last one I tried was the Oculus. And I actually found that one there did the same thing, but it was, of the three of them, the worst to put on with glasses. They suggested when you have glasses to put it on face first, then hook it up on the back. Whereas when I do it with my Vive, I go back end first, hook it on, and then I pull.
And adjust from there.
Exactly, because the actual straps elongate because they're elastic based, and then put it over top. I found the PSVR was great because you put it on, the thing's nice and far away, and then you just press the button and bring it in. So that it's a no problem on the Vive, no problem on the PSVR. The Oculus with glasses works, but I found it the worst of the three of them to try and put it on. So
it's interesting.
Certainly. That's unfortunate, but it is life. So another thing, Nacho, is gameplay.
Yes, sir.
And what games have you played so far?
So I've been fortunate enough to, because of the launch edition, it gives you a demo disc, which has several kind of obviously just tastes of different games coming out and kind of visual effects. I've really been able to immerse myself in the Batman Arkham VR and Until Dawn, because those are the two full games that I have. And I guess you could say the VR Worlds is itself full experience games. It's just, I would say, more of like mini games than anything else. Mm-hmm. So, I would say gameplay wise, it seems like a lot of the games so far have been just kind of like testing games to give you, dip your foot into the world of virtual reality, because it's such a new concept. You don't want to just throw them into like a full-fledged game that they're going to be putting hours into and be like, hey, good luck, I hope you don't get motion sick. It's it's kind of like they need to put mini games like London Heist, like I mentioned before, the luge game. I can't remember what exactly that's called. Mm-hmm. They're obviously short experience games, but you get enough of it that you really do kind of pick up on the overall experience from it, and it gives you kind of hope for what can happen and what will be in future gaming. And another thing that I've noticed just recently is more games that are non-VR based are starting to implement VR experiences. Like I believe Lara Croft, the new one. That has a VR experience in it. One that I did not know that I kind of found recently was the new Call of Duty, Infinite Warfare. After looking into it, they have two experiences. One's more of like a fighter jet experience. I haven't had a chance to test that. And then in game, I believe they have a firing range. So it's obviously it's just to test. It's just kind of like, oh hey, this is a regular game, but we also threw in some VR because we're relevant still. Call of Duty just has to do that.
There was one other game you said you tried out that involved like being an alien.
Yes,
getting sideways.
VR Worlds. That I think. Okay, so this one I would say out of any game that I've played so far, this one I had a little bit of trouble with because I played it for maybe about 20-25 minutes total. And within the first 10 minutes, I was actually feeling motion sickness.
I was going to ask you if you felt sick at any point.
It was, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting it. It got to the point where I took the headset off, sat down, and just kind of had to take a deep breath because, I mean, the orientation and like, because you're basically the game, you're in a mech crawling suit in space. So a lot of the issues with it is your orientation. You're going to be switching from crawling on walls to crawling on ceilings, and as you're shifting, you're actually experiencing, like, let's say you're looking at a room on the wall and you're actually seeing it as if you're standing on the wall. So your visual
perception is sideways, but you're still physically upright.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. That's a recipe for disaster.
Oh my gosh, it's interesting, and they tell you, you may experience motion sickness in certain games, and to take off your headset. So they actually give you warnings, which, I mean, it's going to become standard. Like they're going to be like, oh hey, by the way, you may get sick playing our game. Just heads up.
May chuck your lunch. Thank you. Now,
does it come with a bucket?
Oh, that's for another $20. Buy that. That's in the Elite Edition.
But so overall, your opinion about it, is it worth the money so far?
So far, I would say yes. Just because, I mean, when you think about gaming and where it's come and like everything for us gamers, what we experience and why we play games is to get away from the reality that we live in, or just to immerse ourselves into an alternate reality or a different storyline. So I feel like this is just the next step for that concept, to be able to actually live experiences and feel like a you're participating in what is experiencing or what's happening. I think it's definitely worth the money. If I had more space, I would be completely committed to the HTC Vive just from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And the I mean, what the opportunity for it. I think there's a lot more opportunity there. Obviously, with the VR, or the PlayStation, you're limited to the console abilities, where the HTC Vive.
So you buy the Pro 2, the Pro 5,
the
every
Super
iteration that
Pro,
comes afterwards.
Exactly.
It's cool. I'm glad to hear positive input by that. Like I said, we're in a little short on time here, but Kirak, you have had experience doing a demo with the place, but you've also had a demo experience recently with the Oculus. I want to get a chance to touch on that. So, give me a rundown, man.
Real quick, one of the things I noticed, and I already just mentioned it, was the problems trying to put it on with the glasses. But other than that, it was sharper than the PSVR, kind of on par with the Oculus Rift. But it felt nice and light and like very, very not weighed down. Like it felt like a PSVR actually. Is probably the best way to describe it.
So the Vive is the heavier of the three.
Yeah, well, actually, it appears that way or feels that way. But if you weigh them all, people were saying online that the heaviest one is the PSVR. But I think it distributes the weight properly because of the way it rests on the forehead and so on.
Okay.
As far as what I played, the only game that they let me play, it wasn't like the Vive where I was able to play a snippet of all these different games. It was only Minecraft. And within 5 minutes, my stomach turned. And then I felt pretty sick for about 2 hours after that, 2.5 hours after that.
Wow.
Like, we were doing recording. You said you were still feeling the effects.
Yeah. But it's just, I don't blame the headset. I blame the game, obviously. But it was awesome. It was so awesome to be in Minecraft.
Don't blame the game, blame the player.
Do I think it's good? I do like it. The one thing I'm not a fan of is that it works off cameras. So if you wanted to do, if you buy the handsets that are coming out in December, it would make sense to buy an extra camera because the whole system only comes with one camera out of the box. And that would allow for triangulation and give you some room scale.
You didn't play with the remotes, did you?
No. I was using an Xbox One controller, and that kind of also gave that broken or disconnected feeling. At least when I tried the PSVR and I used the controller, I didn't use the wands like you're using, Nacho. I could still see the PS4 controller in my virtual world, which grounded me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
having that stacked thing, it's kind of like we talk about the digital proboscis or something that gives you a stack point. That can help with issues. That's actually a good thing to keep note of. So when it comes to the aspect, so you've now had at least demo experience with the other devices. You own the Vive. You're still loving the Vive, right?
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
So you've talked about, you've theorized that you might buy the PSVR.
I walked away when I tried the PSVR. I walked away thinking, yeah, I would buy this. Do I want to? I'd have to set up a whole other area and this and that. So I'm like,
well, but I look at the aspect of, would it be worth the cost to you?
I think it would, for one reason and one reason only. I'm willing to bet that the PSVR is going to have a slew of games, probably more so than the Vive already has.
Okay.
That's
what about
why.
the Oculus?
Oculus,
I would say it's... for it?
No, I wouldn't. It's a little bit, visually, it's a little bit of a tier up on the PSVR, in my opinion. But I already have one for my PC, and it's way better with the controls. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense, right? So yeah.
And Nacho, your take on the PSVR? Would you recommend it to somebody else? You say, yeah, you should probably get this for your system.
Honestly, I think for those experiencing it or just kind of like on the fence about it, the whole VR possibility, I think the PlayStation VR is a great stepping stone, and it is a good idea for people to check it out. And I think for the price point as well, it's a little bit easier to take. Because I mean, as much as I really would like to have the Vive, the price point really stopped me from purchasing it, as well as the size limit or the room limitations and stuff like that. But I think seeing the price tag really does help sell it. So I definitely recommend the PSVR just from my experiences alone, and kind of to go kind of touch on what Kirok was saying, the game titles, I think from from release to the future, I think they really do have a great opportunity. With pre-existing games that they have already, they have the opportunity to really tell new stories and tell maybe even tell the same stories, but in a different experience.
New perspective,
New perspective, yes. I mean, Resident Evil 7 is coming out, quarter 1, 2017.
Yeah.
As much as I am like horrified to play it, I almost feel like I have to.
It's gonna scare the crap out of you. I tell you.
Like I'm going to set it up. I'm going to stream it, and I'm going to just cry. But I mean, it's that excitement and that fear that I think will really help.
Well, it's got to be violent games for people. Some people have kind of gotten dull with them. So I mean, I look at it like this. You kind of started touching on it. Nacho, is that this kind of interface is going to be neat because we're talking about games, but we also talk about the real world applications of things, and also the interactivity. Think about how I don't know about first person shooters per se, but for RPGs, things like Fallout, things like that, where I can really see this being more advantages. It's the games like that aren't meant to be games where you're flipping back and forth and spinning the view around real quickly to shoot people. It's a story driven thing, and to be immersed in a 3D environment, a virtual environment, as the main character for these story-driven games could be a lot more immersive. And this is just kind of the beginning steps to what eventually is going to be the Star Trek holodeck.
Yeah, nice. Yes, finally.
There are other things out there. Again, kind of a lesser class. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just cheaper and whatnot. You've got Google's Daydream, which is kind of the next phase after Google Cardboard in a sense. Microsoft has announced a platform for more VR systems that are, I forget the term they're using, but they're all internal sensor. So they work off of the gyroscopes and internal actions. So no external camera is required. And they're actually going to be partnering with a lot of different people to make these devices, which will be wireless, which will be less cost, like in the $300 range for the device.
Awesome.
So this is going to make VR a lot more tangible for even more people, so I'll be curious to see where that goes. And like I said, guys, if you're curious about it, interested in it, go down, find places doing demos of it, find a friend. If you live in California, find Nacho's number somehow, come over. If you live in Canada, go harass Kirok. But seriously, it's worth trying out. I really do recommend everybody take time to find an opportunity to try this out, because it really is something different that you haven't experienced before. I know you may think you have. It isn't.
Yeah.
It really is something new. I'm a tech savvy person. I've played a lot of other things, and this was just completely off the wall. Anyways, like I said, we're running short time here, so I want to get things wrapped up. But I do want to leave you guys with one little for the win, which is whack a vote. Hammering the polls. Again, I'm not going to play the video because I don't want to get flagged, as we always seem to somehow. But I do encourage you guys to go over there, check that out. It's funny as all get out. So just definitely go check it out. It's fun. Of course, guys, if you have any questions, comments, curiosities, and so on, please head on over to barrockgaming.com, go into the forums. We do have a section for the podcast where we'll have show notes when I get around to it, because I'm really, really bad about that right now, as well as feedback if you want to advertise for something, or if you want to be a guest. Go ahead and come over here. Let us know. We'll talk. So anyways, Nacho, my friend, my buddy, my pal. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. And this freaking whack job that happens to be in the same company you work for comes up to you and it's like, hey, you're playing the PSVR? How would it come on a podcast? Hey! But I appreciate it.
Any reason to, of course, no, man. Any reason to talk about gaming is a great reason for me.
You're here.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Get on my soapbox and just shout to the world. Gaming is awesome. Now, honestly, I'm very excited. I was very happy to be here just to talk about the VR experience. And Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you guys for letting me come on and
Yeah, man.
talk
No
heads
problem at
off.
all.
It was
So
awesome.
what else, besides talking with us about stupid shit, what else do you do?
Well, I do live stream on Twitch. I'm kind of in the process of reworking my channel, designing different layouts and stuff like that. But I'm actually very close to being finished, so I'm gonna be live streaming. I'm gonna try to live stream like 3-4 times a week. But
Wow, you got ambitious
I know,
goals.
right? I'm committed. I'm very ambitious when it comes to gaming. But
Right.
no, what I really do want to try to start streaming some PSVR. Give people, for those who can't buy it or that don't, they're on the fence. I think that's a great way to get a taste of it without, shelling out the hundreds of dollars. Check out some live streams, check out YouTube, but I want to give people that experience and kind of show them what,
Certainly.
what is coming up. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Kick
designing, streaming, and being that it's the holiday season, I'm about to watch Elf like 500 times just because.
Very
love
nice.
that
Oh
movie.
God, I can't stand Will Ferrell.
Whoa.
Worst person
That was
in the
like-
world. Anyways,
He was made for that role.
so guys, you can find him over on his Twitch channels. Go to Twitch and look up Nacho Panda, and he also has a Instagram, so you can go through and see some interesting, fun things that he likes to post up there as well.
Cool.
Kirok, my friend,
Yes.
my buddy, my pal.
How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Got to start playing some games and recording, maybe even doing some streaming as well. Running out of content on my YouTube channel, but it's okay. The last little bit of stuff that I've been putting up is all VR stuff. So what else? I don't know. It's early. I'm one of those guys that likes to get his Christmas shopping done well before December hits. So I'm probably going to be starting that. And
Ew, you're weird.
Yeah, I know.
Best day for shopping, 26th.
I gotta be me. And the other thing,
you wrap little cute boxes and you put IOU inside of them. Give them to everybody.
There you
IOU, one
go.
gift.
and that's about it. Got my flu shot. I don't know. I always get my flu shot. Did you get yours?
Oh yeah,
You
I got infants and elderly in my house, so I got
Okay,
flu
good.
shots.
Yeah, right on. And then that's it, man. That's all that's going on right now.
All right, guys, keep up with Kirok as always. You can find him on YouTube, find him on the Twitters, among other places. Of course, he's part of Project Singularity, so definitely make sure you check them out and see what they're up to. I myself, the usual excitement, absolutely nothing. I do the podcast here. I have an unboxing that I haven't done yet, and I've gotten yelled at, so I need to get that done.
I can't wait to see it.
In short order. Yeah, I can't wait to see it too. And I also have
Okay,
a bunch
I'm
of moto vlog content I'm starting to put together for my other channel that I'll put up there, including a near fatal accident. I almost got fucking clobbered. Hit and run situation where I had to go chase down the hit and run guy and give him a piece of my mind. So I'll try to get that episode of the account, let you guys know when I have it up. Always, guys, I appreciate your time, and please head over to BottleRocketGaming.com. We're a wonderful bunch of people. We'd love to have more wonderful bunches of people. So BottleRocketGaming.com. Check us out. Sign yourself up. Join us for the events, because we do like doing those things. And if you can, give us a little shout out and some love. We do appreciate it. Head over to the Bottle Rocket YouTube channel at youtube.com/BottleRocketGaming. And check out some of the content we have up. Give us a like. Give us a follow. Give us a shout out on Twitter. If you happen to be part of Votable, you can go over to Votable and give us a little upvote and give us some love there. We appreciate it. And if you want to just take the easy route and give us cash, you can do that too over at our Patreon account. So thank you so much. And thank you again, Nacho, man. It was good to get a chance to talk to you outside of work.
Yeah.
Oh,
thanks
thank
for coming
you
on,
guys.
buddy.
Oh,
But-
for sure. It was my pleasure. It was awesome. You guys
I
are
would love-
hilarious.
Thank God. We're not just funny looking. No, actually, one thing I want to put to you that I would love to do is if you're willing sometime, maybe get together and head over the hill with me to my friend's house. They have a Vive set up and actually have the Vive experience, and then maybe get your input on that after the fact.
Oh, I would love to be able to compare. And honestly, the HTC Vive is that is, I think, the quintessential VR experience that I need to have, and I need to be fully committed before I buy it. But no, yes,
You just make sure you have enough money in your bank account. You may want to walk out after playing with it and going, "Yep,
Right,
I'm
I'll
gonna
take
buy
out
a new
a small loan
PC
for
and the
that
Vive."
Oh man.
Oh, thank you guys for having me on. It was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was. All right, man. Thank you so much. Kirok, it's always good seeing you every week here.
Yeah, no problem. Every time. Love it.
And thank you, everybody, for staying this long watching us. So have yourself a good night.
Bye for now.
One more time. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kirok.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Nacho.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's right. He can count.
Yay.
We only get the smart ones on for our guests.
I am so smart.
Forget to later. So now is not the time to pick your nose.
Double whammy.
Double whammy. Hey, if you're gonna go for the gold, you know, wait, no. Ask a friend to help.
Sure, we'll go with that.
That works. Yeah, that works.
Oh, you know what? Here, give me just a sec. I'm gonna go get some water real quick, so I don't start like
I was gonna
dying.
say $5 for people to go leak and hydrate and all that.
I'm pissing right now.
Using the bucket for something else. He actually has a barf bucket next to his VR.